Classical mythology has much to offer us, even in today's modern times. On today's Wednesdays with Willa show, we'll be focusing on the wisdom of Athena. It's really wonderful to be able to bring in history and aspects of other cultures so that we can really understand on high levels how we can communicate with our souls. So today on Wednesdays with Willa, I wanted to just explain a little bit about how you can tune into the show. My name is Willa White. I'm a registered Lily Dale medium, and this can be found on my Facebook page, Willa White Medium. And it's an opportunity. I usually have a special guest on the show, and we talk about a spiritual topic relating to either spiritualism, mediumship, healing, faith, family, or more. And throughout the years, this is year 5 of my podcast show. So there have been so many guests, so many topics. People tell me that they love to binge watch the show and watch the archive videos, which you can find on my Facebook page, Willa White Medium. So I encourage you to like and share and follow so you can get updates as to when I go live, as well as my YouTube channel. This will also go out on the Lily Dale Assembly Facebook page. And if you want the audio only version of this podcast show, you can join me on blogtalkradio.com/LilyDaleRadio. The show airs on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And there are other Blog Talk Radio shows that you can tune into throughout the week. So I encourage you to take a look at the other things that are being offered by various hosts. Now, today, as I said, we're going to be focusing on the wisdom of Athena. And this has been brought to you by a very special person. I'd like to introduce you today to Teresa Shaper. Hello, Teresa. Hi, it's great to have you here today with us again.
Good morning, Willa. Heart hugs through the ethers. Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. 5/25, right? May 25th, yeah. And it's your 5th year, so we got the 5s going on.
We're rocking with the 5s. Absolutely. And
thanks very much for having me.
Oh, Teresa's been on the show before, so I encourage you to look back at those archive videos. If you go in, you can just type in Willa White, Teresa Schaeffer. You'll be able to find the different shows that we've been able to do together. And Teresa Schaeffer, for those who don't know who she is, she's a resident of Lily Dale and also a registered Lily Dale medium. And she has a lovely guest house, the Jewel on the Lake, that she's been able to do for many years now. And one of the things that's so delightful about Teresa is she's got a wealth of knowledge, whether it be yoga that she used to teach. I was in her class for years, but traveling the world is something that's very important to her, which is why we're doing this special show today, as she really loves to dive into the native cultures of different areas. And so you can find more about Teresa on her website, teresashaper.com. And we're going to dive into the show today, Teresa, and really focus on the wisdom of Athena. And this is based on a recent trip that you have just gotten back from Greece, which is one of those phenomenal places. But perhaps I should show them a quick picture of you. Having your evidence, as it were, of being in Greece. And there we have Teresa with the beautiful waters behind her as she's been on her journey for Greece. So yes. Well, let's take it away. Let's maybe give them a little background if you're not really clear about Greek mythology. We'll give you a little bit of background of that. And it's something that my children and I have been studying a lot this particular year. So definitely close to my heart these days. All right, Teresa.
Thank you, Willa. I'm just looking, I'm right by the lake. I'm actually on the lake, and I've got bird feeders and stuff. And I just want to let you know we've got an audience out the window here. A whole variety of birds are coming to listen. When you started talking, Will, it was almost like they heard your voice and they're out there. So it's very wonderful to have all the wildlife out. And I just want to apologize to begin with here. If you hear a lot of banging and whatnot, we are having our roads paved, and it's actually being paved at this moment right in front of the house here. So it might be a little bit loud. And now we have a Baltimore Oriole over there. Well, let's get on to squirrel. The picture that Willa showed you at first was actually me in Crete. That was Crete. That was on the Mediterranean Sea right there. And I was at a sacred ceremonies there for several weeks. And in the back, that was actually Apollo Beach that I was standing on. And in the background, we'll show you a couple more pictures later, was Mount Ida. And of course, Mount Ida is the birthplace of Zeus. So what we want to talk about first is Athens. I flew into Athens and I spent some time there. And Athens is actually one of the oldest cities in the world. And the recorded history with Athens is dated, about 3,200 BC. And some people ask me, the correlation between Greece and Egypt. And I can say that Egypt, which I've been many times to my heart, their history is like 6,000 plus years old, okay? Where we've got Greece 3,200 BC. So Athens is actually the capital and the largest city in Greece. They've got over 6 million people there. I wonder if anyone out there knows how Athens got its name. Willa, clue?
I know you're going to tell us, and there are actually two stories that you're going to share regarding that.
Here's my one purchase. This is my one purchase, my Athens Greece hat. Well, as we all know, Athens is also the birthplace of democracy. And it's the seat of the famed Academy of Plato. All right, and I've got pictures of that as well. And the Lyceum of Aristotle. And it's interesting, we have our lovely Lyceum over here. And Athens is widely referred to as the cradle of Western civilization. And why is that, you ask? Because of so many cultural and political achievements starting back from the 4th and 5th century BC. Now, Athens, I'm going to say it was the third time the charm, because it was originally named Acti for its first king, Actios. Then it was named, and I'm not great at pronunciation, so forgive me if I pronounce these wrong, because I know I'm going to. Derived from King Criposus. Okay, so Athens was two different names named for two kings. Well, then we happen to have a quarrel between two mighty gods of Olympus. Those two gods being Athena, okay, and Poseidon. Okay, so Zeus and the king were overseeing this. So Poseidon presented his gift. Does anybody know what a trident is? I've been looking for a trident for quite some time. All right, I really want a trident. All right,
I think that's been an Aquaman.
Okay, good. So those of you that are familiar with Aquaman know a trident. Basically, it's a three-pronged spear. Okay, so here's the god Poseidon. He takes his trident and he just blammo. Okay, powerful, powerful blow to the rocky ground. A water sprang. Okay, water sprang up from the ground, forming a small lake, and that was called Erythia Sea. Okay, and the water that came up was salt water. Okay, which was not drinkable. Okay, so that was Poseidon's gift, water. Here comes Athena. Okay, she steps forward and planted a seed on a rock. Okay, on a rock. And I have to tell you, Willa, I have several pictures. I didn't have a chance to go through them. I literally have plants growing, pictures of plants growing out of rocks, growing out of pavement, growing out of places that you couldn't even believe that they were growing out of. So here's Athena planting this seed into a rock, and absolutely immediately sprang an olive tree. Okay. Might even think like tree of life. And it sprouted full of fruit. Okay. So it grew exponentially. That olive tree survived for thousands and thousands of years. Rumor has it that the olive tree on top of the Acropolis, I have pictures. So, but yeah, we don't know when that. But anyway, at the Temple of Athena, I actually have the olive tree on top of the Acropolis. Okay, and it keeps sprouting again and again. So after both the gods had offered their gifts, okay, Zeus asked King Creepops, probably not right, to discern salty water, tree that Athena grew, which had promise of glory, happiness. The olive tree offers what? Oxygen. So the air that we breathe, shade, food, olive oil, wood for winter. Okay. So they happened to find Athena's gift a bit more useful for the city.
Is this the picture you're looking for here?
Yes. Yes. Yay! Good job. There's the olive tree. That's the Temple of Athena. And you see right above the olive tree on the right are some of the statues that I've got pictures of as well. Okay, I know we're not sharing screen, but right above the olive tree on the right is some of these statues. So this is a side view of the Temple of Athena at the Acropolis, right in, right mid-city Athens. So Poseidon kind of got a little angry that he didn't win the challenge. So he cursed the city to never have enough water. And actually, Athens does have a problem of water scarcity. So it has plagued the city. But the legend has it that Athena's olive tree was the first in the world, the first olive tree in the world. Thus, every future olive tree that came from that was related to Athena. And the olive tree, what is it? Well, it's the symbol of purity. Okay, so what can we get out of this spiritually? How about the quest is therefore a path of purification? We're on the path of purification rather than a search for power.
Right, and that path of peace.
Absolutely.
The path of peace.
And peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
So that's how Athens got its name. Okay, so that's why I say third time the charms. 2 kings and then a goddess. Should I keep my hat on or take it off?
It's up to you. I like it with it off because I can see your eyes better.
All right. Here we go. So Athena is a warrior goddess, but she's known as the god of wisdom, knowledge, crafts, civilization, justice, and she gives heroes their courage. And her advice was so sought after. Everybody, Athena was the Dear Abby. Okay, Dear Abby at that time. We'll go with Ann Landers later because her bestie's Artemis, and we might get to her later too.
Get to her later.
And it's very interesting. We say, what's in a name? And then we say, it's all in a name. Well, the name Athena is the incarnation of the inner master. Okay, this is all this relates. And it's so way cool when we piece it all together and weave that beautiful spider web. That's for another one, Arachnia. So the name Athena, incarnation of your inner master, the power which watches over the evolution of what is born within. Okay, so her birth is very important, how she came into being. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Then, just as Athens was named several things previously, she was originally named Athenia with an IOA and an ONI at the end. And that means evolving consciousness within.
Mm. Let's say that again. Evolving consciousness within.
Evolving consciousness within.
Beautiful.
Wow. Mhm. She's also the symbol of the quest, the power of discernment. You'll read a lot, and it says that, you know, she is the goddess of judgment. Okay. his
Zeus's father.
mythology?
Zeus's father was known for, he gobbled up every child that was happening, and Zeus was the one who really freed the sister and brother gods at that time. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I think this is something that really stems from the Greek culture of the time, that they had to worry about takeovers. There was this conscious thing of, well, will my sons, well, will other people take this over? I mean, they're very warrior people. And so they're always having to think in terms of who's the top dog. And here Zeus had so many, the Titans were involved with that whole thing, and wanting to free the rest of the gods. And that's how Zeus became top dog of all of them, because he had freed them. But then to do that with his own child, it's kind of interesting. Again, prophecy has a big, it's not just in Greek mythology, is throughout history. Whenever there's been some sort of prophecy, when you think about biblical histories that have gone on throughout time, those prophecies, they really stir people up. So in this story of Zeus, it stirred him up.
And you'll see so many similarities, and I really, the metaphysical interpretations of this. That's the thing. A lot of time, everybody's like literal, literal, literal. No, what does this really mean? Okay. Well, Athena emerged fully armed. Okay. Fully armed from Zeus's head. Okay. Zeus's head cracks open, and here comes Athena. Okay.
And that is because he has swallowed Metis, which was Athena's mother. Mm-hmm. And while she's inside of Zeus, again, this is kind of a little bit like the big bad wolf, where Granny's actually inside and she's sticking her needle, her knitting needles into him, kind of thing. But it's this idea of, throughout history, there have been these moments where something is working at work within a person. So anyway, Metis has made the armor and got her girl ready.
So let's relate this, okay, to modern day, or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
So Athena emerges fully armed, okay, so ready for battle. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. So right from the day we're born, okay, the battle begins from the first steps on our path, okay, to the point at which one turns back inward. Okay. So we're preparing ourselves. We're laying the groundwork to reach that enlightenment, that highest level of our mind, to the supermental. So what she did is she allowed for the connection between the inner reality, okay, the inner reality, and then the supreme being above, okay, favoring that growth. So it correlates to the preparation phase of our entering onto the spiritual path. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? The seeker seeks to discover their path. We're conscious, okay? We're conscious beings. Yet, at that point, we cannot yet conceive the level of evolution beyond the highest plane of our mind's existence at that point in time. We have those sayings, the seeker seeks, okay? But we also say when the seeker is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And sometimes we do have that recognition that a thought, that a spiritual understanding has to be given its birth through us. And we have this ability to bring that, ignite that within us. And we do have to get into that mode of, yes, I'm willing to perhaps fight for this idea, or fight for what I feel to be truth. and what we know to be our, maybe perhaps our spiritual truth in those moments. And it's through that discernment that it happens. But sometimes things can have this kind of aggressive, it's almost like a like superhero power that a superhuman power that we get into, and it's actually divine consciousness that's allowing, it's channeling through us. And I think it's significant that she's entering through that crown chakra of Zeus, this idea of divine consciousness,
Yes.
emerging, radiating outward, and that becoming supreme power, as you said, Teresa.
Thus, when the seeker is ready, Athena teaches us that the way to return to oneself, we must acquire that knowledge and understanding that the world can't change if one does not begin with oneself.
Yes.
That's huge. And this has been around forever. Be the change that you want to be. Okay. And again, we like to think of things as a lot of times being, gentle and nurturing. Okay. And like that olive. Okay. So think about it. If I was to plant a seed, I'd have to, nurture it, pray to it, talk to it, water it, be gentle with it, give it what it needs, and it would be like a slower growth. All right. But here it was a blammo. Okay. We need this now. Okay. Like almost like an explosion. And it's like when we think about even where we live here, Willa, in Western New York. Okay. Versus another part of the country, say, all of our trees, everything here, okay, it has to grow rapidly and quickly. One day there's no leaves, and the next day it has all the leaves.
That's right. It's busting out all over right now. It's the glorious green is upon our earth at this time. It's really a fantastic emergence of power.
So,
and isn't it interesting? The leaves open for the sun representative of the divine source and knowledge. And it's as if the tree puts their hands, leaves out, and receives. And
as above, so below. If we look at the roots of most trees, they look exactly like the branches. Okay, grounded in Earth Mother, then we're centered in our universe, and we're reaching for the stars. It's sometimes it's challenging for me, that time and space continuum type thing. Like I'm always thinking about time, how long it takes, the time it takes to grow things. Okay. And it's kind of like, it's the linear thing. So the time is here. The time is now for all of us to work on our inner growth.
I just want to share, because you're talking about time and Athena. So one of the things, as I said before, one of my children has been studying the Iliad and the Odyssey. Athena plays a huge role in both of those classics by Homer. So what we've just finished with book 23 of the Odyssey is that, what did Athena do? She's worked throughout the Odyssey, helping Odysseus on her journey, helping the people with their cunning. She really enjoys Odysseus very, very, very much. And at one point, she holds back dawn for Odysseus and Penelope because they've been having their reunion. So she's able to bend time in those moments. So Athena is credited, at least in the Odyssey, as being able to hold back the night, to stay the dawn, the rosy fingers of dawn, so that the people can really have their moment. So that there is a pause that we need. It's that remembrance, that going within that divine knowledge, there is this time, essence, space, where time is on hold. We all have that. And some of us get to that place in meditation. We get to that in meditation. It's an encouragement. So I just had to share. Go ahead, Teresa.
No, absolutely. And I was just thinking, it's like the time is now. Okay. And we always say divine timing.
Mhm.
All right. And it's just one of my favorite sayings is go within
Mhm.
and you'll never be without. Seriously. And again, the linear time and that sacred pause, Willa, that you were just referring to, a lot of times we associate that with the winter months.
Yes.
Okay, where there's less daylight. All right. And that's usually our sacred time to, to go within and take time for introspection. Introspection.
And I just want to share this picture with them because I think it's so beautiful the way the light hits it, and it's almost like you hold the sunshine right there.
And I don't know if anyone can see that, but right in the bricks is, if you zoom in, is a purple light. Right there,
yeah.
Willa, right there.
Oh yep. My, right there, yes.
Yep.
Lovely.
It was absolutely, absolutely incredible. We've got a couple more.
Okay.
If you want to just show those right now. I'm looking at the time here.
Oh my God, yes, it's going by fast.
Oh my good heavens.
While you're talking, I'll show them some of the other photos. In no particular order.
All right. Well, I was just thinking if one got thrown up there or whatnot, that we could.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me get it back up to there. And we'll be able to share with them a few more pictures. I'm back on this one still. So let me just move into this other place.
It was very interesting. I was there for about 16 days. And I was actually there at the time of their Greek Orthodox Easter, which is a week after ours. And it was very, very interesting. There's so many things to see, so many things to just be involved in with the museum. Just the history with everything. Okay, here we go. There we go. That is the huge Temple of Athena, and those are all statues of Athena. And if you look on the left-hand side, that's that olive tree that we saw the picture of close up. And way in the background, that's all the Acropolis. That's the city over in there.
And then these are also.
Those are the close-up of the statues of Athena. Yeah.
Just so people can see those. Let's see. I think I went through this already. Oh, there you are.
Okay, right there. All right. See that mountain behind my head there with the snow on it? Mm-hmm. That's Mount Ida. Okay, that's the birthplace of Zeus. And right there, I'm right on Apollo Beach. I'm pretty much in Rodakino. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Oh, that was the Acropolis at night. There we go. That was from my hotel room in Athens. And from my hotel room, that picture was taken, I walked to the Acropolis and I fell up the stairs, like I said. I fell up the stairs. But they're doing a lot of work on it. There's been so much, and it's so sad. Just everywhere you go, there's things that have been desecrated. But what I found out interesting in one of the war, there we go. Okay, that is Apollo Beach once again, and that's the Mediterranean Sea right there. And I was very shocked that I didn't really see much wildlife there. As far as sea creatures, it was very interesting. Not a lot of sea creatures.
Not a lot of sea creatures around. I think that actually completes the photos I have for this. But I do think what's so fascinating is about the understanding of Athena, that yes, she's credited with these, but these are inspirations that she, that humans attributed to her, right? And as they were working through their own lives, being able to call upon a certain god or goddess at that particular, I look at that as an aspect of the divine, that they were attuning and aligning their vibrational frequency to a certain understanding of abundance and help and care coming from an aspect of the divine. That sometimes it wasn't so much this idea of I won't be able to move my life at all. It's just it would move my life better if I was in attunement with the spiritual understanding and spiritual knowledge. So I think the big emphasis here for us, Teresa, that we're wanting to make sure it gets shared is that people get excited about the divine knowledge that they can access, that Athena can be an inspiration in a person's spiritual understanding as they proceed in their lives, of maybe symbolic attunement for those things, and that we can reach great wisdom. It's almost like a download of knowledge in those particular moments. If you've ever read the Odyssey or at least snippets of it, it's really fascinating how Odysseus would be like, oh, I need help dealing with the Cyclops, or I need help dealing with Scylla and Charybdis, or I need help in these ways. How do I bring my most discerning, my most cunning space to this so that I don't miss a trick, that I can be intuitive, pivot when I need to. And that's what's so exciting about that particular epic, is that he was able to do that. Now, there was an instance where he felt that Athena wasn't helping him. So I just thought it'd be fun to talk about that real briefly. So he's basically at sea, kind of having to swim, and then he finds a raft, and he's wondering why Athena is not making it easier for him. She's like, why is it? Because she's his patron for the most part, and they can't do everything for us. There has to be a place where we are pursuing that. But I also think Poseidon, because he's in charge of the sea, and Poseidon was against Odysseus. He did not like that Polyphemus, his Cyclops offspring, had been maligned and hurt and wounded by Odysseus. So there's the Athena and Poseidon fight continuing, and Poseidon going after Odysseus, in part because she is Athena it's her favorite. So it's interesting how we have these symbolic representations. We may feel that we've been shipwrecked, or that the waves of life are too much.
Yep. Tsunami.
Right? That there is a life space that we're in, that we're rough seas and we feel there's no land and nothing to cling to. But what does Odysseus eventually do? He clings to a rock, just like the olive tree clings to the rock, and he's able to find land and be back in Ithaca again, and proceed with his life. So we do have journeys and times and trials in our life that we have to go back into that divine space, that even if it's tricky times, we access that intuitive knowledge.
Absolutely, Willa. And yeah, we all need something to cling to on occasion. Okay, whether it be that buoy or that rock in the rocky sea at that point in time. We do need to practice our spiritual discernment. Okay, and again, not think, and our perception. Okay, how we perceive things is not necessarily always how others perceive things. So it's very good to communicate, all right, your perceptions, and then have a very nice conversation, okay, with others, discussing things and the similarities and what everyone's needs are. Okay, because the needs are the same, the wants are different. We really need to all be gentle with ourselves first and foremost, do our self inner work. Okay, that's the number one. What's the whole thing here is basically, be the change. What Gandhi, right? Be the change that you want to be. We want to go within, never be without. And we have helpers. We have tools. We have these things. We need to ask. Okay. And just like Willa said, there comes, sometimes you're just going to want to step aside for a bit. All right. It's not saying that you're taking one step back, two steps forward. You're just taking a step aside. You're observing, okay, what you're responsible for. What are you responsible for? How you choose to react or act in a situation.
And talking about tools, one of the big tools that played into Greek mythology with Athena is how she helped Perseus. So Perseus had quite a quest that he was on. He's the one that eventually killed the Gorgon to slay the Gorgon, as it were. And he also had other monsters to take care of. And he's the one that got to ride Pegasus.
Monsters.
So all of that. But what did Athena do? She was able to send her owl to help Perseus, there's the owl, to help Perseus on his journey. So that, this idea of we can all be heroic and have this tool of understanding. And for some of you, it's going to be this idea of imaging and visualizing the owl and the wisdom that comes through that. People who are really into the understanding of animal symbols and totems, they're going to eat that right up. They're going to resonate with that very strongly. But even if you're not into that, just that understanding that there are gifts of wisdom that can come to you on the wings of the owl. And if you like Harry Potter, who brings the messages? Who brings the messages? The owls are the messengers, and they're the ones that bring the mail. So think of in terms of your own, if you're really needing mail, that idea of I need messages from spirit, where are my owls? Watch for how the owl shows up, and it might not be in the owl form. But if you want to just, in quotes, call them owls, this idea of what's going to be showing up around you that's going to be the message, that's going to be the synchronicity, that's going to be present for you. Yes, Teresa.
No, absolutely. I'm like, yes, well, yes. Yeah, the owl's her sacred animal. We all have our different, sacred totems, just like, they can come in reason, season, or lifetime. That's the source. That's one of her sources of her wisdom and her, spiritual discernment. Okay. And owls have exceptional night vision. Okay. They really do.
So they can see in the dark. Yes.
So what does that symbolize? That symbolizes Athena's ability to see a lot of times what others can't see. Okay. And that's how we get that expression. We're in the dark. When we say, oh my God, I'm in the dark about that. What does that mean? That means that I don't know about it. I'm not aware of it. Okay. I'm in the dark. So basically, yes, let there be light, but we can also see in the dark.
That's right. Ask for vision, even in the darkness, and there'll be something that shows up for you in those moments. And it might not be brilliant like a flash bulb in your face, but it'll be that sense of all of a sudden you're able to see a little farther than you did before, a little farther. Yeah.
And I can tell you that it was challenging for me to ask for things. I'm not an asker. So, I'm getting better at it. So that just goes through with everything else. It's like ask and you shall receive. Okay. You don't know if you don't ask. Okay. And then people are like, well, I don't even know what to ask. Okay. Don't get caught up on that. Whatever's for your highest and best. All right. And just literally, we need to ask for things a little bit more. And once again, take it upon ourselves to go within and to practice and to keep being that light. Okay, well, it could start off as a flicker. It could start off as like a little flint. It could start off as an ember and a firefly. And then pretty soon we're all going to be beacons of light. So if we're out there in that sea that is not calm, that sometimes turns into a tsunami, and we don't have anything to cling to, all right? We're going to find that buoy. We're going to find that rock. We're going to find that lighthouse. We're going to find that light within. And we're going to shine our light bright so that everyone can see it. And we are going to be the light.
Beautiful. And on that note, I hope that you've all been enjoying this. Let us know that you've been enjoying this, that you're inspired by this trip to classical Greece, and how mythology can help us maybe look at things a little bit differently in modern times, bringing it forward. There's a reason why stories persist over time, and why we have the myth of the hero, as Joseph Campbell understood and shared with us, that we have to understand that the myth of the hero is also within us. The divine knowledge is also within us. All of these stories are also within us, and that it's all about accessing that inner greatness, that power of the divine. So without further ado, I'd like to mention also, Teresa will be teaching some workshops this summer. And in fact, I think you have a preseason workshop that's coming up. How about we tell them about that?
I have a Reiki level 1 workshop, and just in a couple weeks, 2 Saturdays. It's going to be on Saturday, June 11th, right here in lovely Lilydale at the Lyceum at 9 o'clock, Reiki level 1. Love to have everybody.
And you can sign up for that on the lilydaleassembly.org website. So if you go to lilydaleassembly.org, you'll be able to click on the calendar date, and you'll RSVP, which means you purchase a ticket to attend. And the Lilydale website has all the classes up on it now, so you can register for all the workshops. The 2022 season starts on June 24th this year. It's always the last Friday of the month of June, and then it runs until the day before Labor Day. So this year that will be September 4th. It's a 10-week season full of daily and weekly events. And this is the only time that you'll have all of the components of visiting Lilydale, having message services throughout the day. There'll be healing services. There'll also be lectures and workshops such as Teresa's. So go to lilydaleassembly.org so you can get the full schedule there. I strongly encourage you that if you are planning to visit Lilydale, that you make your appointments for the medium of your choice, to check in with them now, because the summer is booking up very, very fast, as well as accommodations. There are hotels for Lilydale, but also guest houses like Teresa's and others that you may want to check into. They have different kinds of amenities. That's all also found on the lilydaleassembly.org website, so that you can plan your stay, or if it's just a daycation. But pre-season, as Teresa was saying, that you could be part of Reiki 1. Reiki is a form of spiritual healing, and it's a way of understanding energy. And Teresa's been teaching this for years. She's a well-known teacher of Reiki. And what's another workshop that you have coming up, Teresa?
I have my org workshop. And that is August 18th. I believe that's a Thursday, and that's 7 to 10 p.m. And that's awesome. We share our orb pictures. We go to the stump. It's probably my 11th year, I think, maybe doing the orb workshop. We can share our orb photos. Orbs are spheres of consciousness, and that manifest that, we have that saying, seeing is believing. So in this instance, you're going to be seeing them. So,
yeah, and Teresa will explain about how there's a difference between the way a speck of dust looks, reflection of light, and a true spirit orb, and so it's important to learn the difference. So you have to be a healthy skeptic about these things and understand what can be true and what is just a bunch of stuff.
Dust. What's a bunch of dust?
A bunch of dust up. So hopefully you guys can engage in those wonderful workshops that Teresa is offering, and the rest of the things that are happening with Lilydale. Oh, there are some Zoom classes that are available throughout the summer as well. But a lot of things are going more in person for this particular summer, and we're grateful for that. So here we go. This at the end of our show. Thank you so much for being here today, Teresa. It's been wonderful to have you share your insights about the wisdom of Athena and how that it can inspire us to access our own divine wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. Oh, next week you want to tune in because I will have Ron Nagy, who is the Lilydale historian, as my guest. And we're going to do a little special tour of very special items in the Lilydale Museum. So if you don't want to miss it, it's going to be great. All right, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Willa.